Hari Om Tat Sat. Welcome to Jyotirmayananda Society, a journey to self realization. Please subscribe for the mystical meanings of the scriptures and to enjoy daily satsang. We are currently exploring the book The Mystery of the Soul, Katha Upanishad, commentary by Swami Jyotirmayananda Maharaj, narrated by myself, Swami Nikhilananda. So, we are currently studying chapter 1, section 2, mantra number 7. So, the blissful Atman is beyond the reach of mind and speech. Taught by a wise man, this Atman reveals itself. But such a wise man is a great wonder, and that disciple is a great wonder who, having been instructed by the preceptor, attains the realization of the self. So, these are both great acts. Both the teacher who teaches the philosophy of non dualism and the identity of the soul and Brahman, and the disciple who realizes that I am Brahman, are very difficult to find. Imagine, Lord of Death is giving this discourse to Nachiketas. This Atman is attained by jnana, wisdom, produced by the teachings of the Shrutis or the Upanishads. Nirvikalpa jnana is the wisdom which destroys all the objective vrittis or thought waves of the mind and produces Brahmakara vritti, thoughts of Brahman that take us towards God. This wisdom is very subtle. Therefore, the knower of this is called Kushala or skilled. The Guru must be Brahmanishta, established in Brahman, and Brahma Shrotriya, well versed in the Upanishads. When such a Guru teaches Brahman to fit aspirants, they attain the fruit of self realization. One cannot attain Brahman if he is taught by a Guru who lacks the spiritual experience of Brahman. So, that is what is absolutely required on this path. One having indirect knowledge cannot kindle the fire of intuitive knowledge in the heart of the aspirant. Even if such a teacher of indirect knowledge would continue to teach the aspirant for a long time, the disciple can never attain Brahman through his teachings. Therefore, it's the grace of the Guru, and to find such a Guru is indeed a great act of good merit. The aspirant who, without the help of a realized Guru, tries to understand Brahman by adapting various logical means will not be able to attain Brahman. Rather, he will be lost in the mire of doubts, because how will he clarify them? This is the holy path, subtle path. Lots of questions, confusion comes along. So you need proper guidance. That's why a qualified preceptor or guru. This is Lord of Death. Lord Krishna says the same thing. All the key scriptures, holy scriptures, all of them guide us towards these landmarks, these signs. One cannot receive right guidance from a man who does not know the path well, and if guided by him, he will not reach his destination. Even so, one who does not know Brahman cannot show the right path leading to Brahman. Directed by ignorant people, an aspirant loses the right track and wanders in the mire of worldliness. Therefore, those who are desirous of attaining Brahman must find realized sages for their gurus. The ideal guru feels that the self of all is my very self. They see themselves in all. There is no difference between me and the absolute. Such a Mahatma or great soul is at one with the whole world. When such a great soul teaches the science of Brahman to qualified aspirants, they verily attain the same consciousness as the Guru. But it is very difficult to find such a Guru, and to find a qualified aspirant is also most difficult, because most people are not ready to make the sacrifices, and follow through the discipline that is needed. This is the mantra number 8. When the self is taught by one who lacks the knowledge of Brahman, such teaching leads to various doubts, and therefore the self is not known. Without being taught by the wise, no one has access to this subtle knowledge because its subtlety is beyond human reasoning. We cannot intellectualize it, we have to experience it, and therefore, only one who has experienced it is able to guide others. The intellect that is attained by following the instructions of a realized sage is not overpowered by various doubts and delusions. Rather, this sharp intellect pierces all the theories advanced by the atheists and by those who mistake the not self for the self. Wrong arguments and conceptions regarding the soul obstruct one's movement towards the goal of life, realization of the self. They inhibit the rise of knowledge and its fruit. Superficial minds have conceived various theories regarding the nature of the self. The nature of their argument is given below. Is the Atman or the Self one in all beings or many? If you say Atman is one in all, this does not stand to reason, because then the practical dealings of the life would be impossible. There would be no difference between I, you, he, she, etc. Therefore, Atman is not one. Those who hold that Atman is many are also incorrect. Then Atman would not be secondless and extraordinary. Everyone would have a distinct Atman. If you say that one Atman appears to be many due to the limiting adjunct of the bodies, then it is asked, how does the same one Atman attain many bodies at the same time? If one Atman alone exists in all bodies, how is it that we do not feel the pleasure and pain of all bodies? Therefore, this Atman is not one. So they keep on using this kind of logic to confuse honest, sincere aspirants who are new on this path. Again, is this Atman inert or conscious? This Atman cannot be inert because an inert object like a pot does not need any object of enjoyment. But is it conscious? This is discussed in the following way then. Atman becomes conscious of the objects to enjoy them. Is this consciousness eternal or non eternal? It cannot be eternal because in this case there would always be enjoyment. Now, in the second case, the doubt arises, is this consciousness self luminous or illumined by something else? So, transitory consciousness cannot be self luminous, but if it is illumined by something else, there will arise regression ad infinitum. Thus, the ignorant argue in diverse ways. These arguments are opposed to the Upanishads. They don't digest them, and therefore they argue to their point of illusion and delusion. Mantra number 9, Yama continues, O dear disciple, the knowledge of self about which you have inquired cannot be acquired by argument, but when told by a guru, the intellect turns towards self realization. O Nachiketas, you are endowed with a pure intellect. May we acquire inquirers like thee because they are very rare. Arguments arise due to externalization of the mind. When the mind is exhausted and externalized, the vision of the self is shut out because it's always thinking of external things. In order to acquire the knowledge of the self, one must first have a pure intellect which directs itself to the self through the process of intuition. Nachiketa was endowed with pure intellect. He was endowed with dispassion, discrimination, and other qualifications for the attainment of self realization. Lord Yama is full of praise for his dear disciple, only 5 years old, but such an old soul. Mantra number 10. I know that the treasure acquired by karmas is impermanent because the eternal cannot be acquired by the non eternal. Therefore, I have propitiated the Nachiketa's fire, and as a result of it, I have attained the relative eternal, meaning the heavens. O Nachiketas, you have evinced great patience. You have not been tempted by worldly objects. Such patience no one has ever shown before. What to speak of others? Even I, the Lord of Death, do not possess the heroism that you have shown. Though I know that all sense enjoyments are transitory and perishable, and I know that even the gods, the lords of the worlds, are subject to death, yet I have not developed a spirit of renunciation equal to yours. So, something highly complimentary. So nice that the Lord of Death is humble enough to even recognize that he himself is not equal to Nachiketas. Even in the past, I did not possess the fire of Vairagya or dispassion that now blazes in your heart. That is why I performed the Nachiketa sacrifice and other sacrifices with great effort, and as the fruit of all these sacrifices, I have now attained the status of Yama, the Lord of Death. This lordship of mine will exist until the termination of creation, that is, until pralaya or the dissolution of the world. O Nachiketas, even such a glorious attainment you have renounced, knowing it to be perishable. The imperishable cannot be attained by the perishable. Yama evidently wishes to praise Nachiketas for his divine qualities. We will continue mantra number 11 in tomorrow's satsang. This is Swami Nikhilananda. Hari Om Tat Sat.